So first of all, just a formal welcome to everybody. It's really great that you all could join us virtually. I wish we were able to do this in person, maybe on the terrace like on Russ's background there. Wish we were all able to do that, but the reality is virtually is kind of the way we're going these days. So we hope this session we have today is going to be an informative one for you today. In light of everything that's going on, both locally and nationally, we thought this would be a good time to kind of update you on things that are going on in the Bolz Center. We do have lots of really great news to share, particularly at this time when good news is hard to come by. But before we get into all that, I just wanted to take a moment to remember Sherry, who I think all of you know, passed away suddenly on May 30th. This is a huge loss for the Bolz Center and also the arts community across the country, and of course to her family and friends. I know personally I'm going to miss her a lot. Really enjoyed getting to know her over the last number of years, and yeah, going to miss her a lot. So, and one of the things I wanted to point out, a lot of the good news that you're going to hear today is because of the result of her vision that she had for the Bolz Center over the last couple of years. So we do owe her quite a bit. So she's going to be a part of this today in that way. So there is a really wonderful memorial website that's been created by Sherry's family and friends. It can be found on forevermissed.com. If you also Google Sherry's name, that'll be one of the first things that come up on the web search. It does also contain some information on how to make gifts in Sherry's memory that her family and friends have put together. So check that out. Hope you all take a few minutes to visit. It's really well done and a beautiful tribute to her. We have had some questions about if there's going to be a more formal celebration of Sherry's life, and yes, there will be. Details are emerging for those events, so stay tuned. We will share those with all of you when those come together. Oh, thanks for sharing that, Alice. In the chat is the link to the Forever Missed page there. So, so with that, I'm going to turn this over and just introduce you guys to the panel here and tell you a little bit about what we're going to cover today. We do have a great panel of speakers, and what we're going to do is we're going to start with some information that we thought you all might like to hear, and then we'll do some question and answer at the end. So please feel free to use that Q&A throughout if you have questions, but we're going to hold the questions until the end. We'll keep an eye on that Q&A piece at the bottom of the Zoom thing. So the info that we are going to cover today in the kind of the more formal side of things is the search for the next Bolz Center leader. We're going to talk a little bit about the center operations and teaching. We're going to talk about philanthropy, some great news to share there. And then we're also going to talk about the MBA and MA classes for the fall of 2020. So that's kind of the agenda for today. The panelists are, so Russ Koff, you know him, he's faculty director for the Bolz Center. Hi, Russ. The three interim co-directors, Becky Buckman, Sarah Marty, John Surdick. Hi, guys. All there. And then Angela Richardson, who's the Wisconsin School of Business Artist in Residence, as you all know, very important part of the Bolz Center, too. So hi, Angela. Glad you could all join us, too. Also, a shout out to Alice Ferris for helping us with the Zoom logistics. We appreciate your help, Alice, so thank you. With that, I'm going to end there. And then, and I'm going to hand it off to Russ, who's going to start with the search for the next Bolz Center leader. So take it away, Russ.
Thanks so much, Pete. And I want to echo the comment you made about, well, missing Sherry, but also executing on her vision, because this is a big year for executing on her vision. And ultimately, that's our main thing that's on our platter right now, I think. It may look like I'm at the terrace, and I wanted you all to sort of remember the terrace as a place that's near and dear to all of our hearts. If you hear some noise in the background, it's an arborist who is cutting down a branch, which tells you I'm not actually at the terrace, in case you were wondering. Let me say a little bit about this year. As I said, we're focused on executing on Sherry's vision, but we will also be focused on finding a new leader for the center. Just to give you a sense of the timing, in the late fall, we will be developing a position description, and we'll be putting out an advertisement for the position. We will be developing a recruiting committee, which will be designed to take input from our leaders who you see now. We will conduct interviews in the early spring, and we expect to have a new director on board by the end of the spring semester. And that gives somebody, these things tend to operate on an academic calendar in most cases, so we'll be ready to hit the ground running easily for next year. Many of you are wondering what's the vision going forward. Well, our immediate task is implementing on Sherry's vision, which you'll hear more about as we go, in particular the MA program, which we're actually incredibly excited about right now. But that leaves room for a new vision for the new leader, and we're very sensitive to that. We're going to bring in somebody who's going to, you know, breathe new energy into the center, and I can't tell you where that's going to go, and I don't want to tell you where that's going to go because that's actually for our new leader to do. So with that, we'll move a little bit into center operations, and you'll hear from each of the team members. And I want to say these are Sherry's handpicked team, and she did a darn good job at that. And I'm excited to work with them. Every day is kind of a treat in terms of that. So you'll hear from each of those. We'll start with Sarah, who's going to be teaching the seminar in the fall.
Thanks, Ross. Welcome to everybody who is here with us today. It's been fantastic to see your greetings in the chat bar and to see friends near and far. So thanks so much for being here with us this morning. Our instructional team, which includes myself, Angela Richardson, John Serdick, and our colleagues, Amy and Mary Beth Collins and Amy Hagendorf in the School of Human Ecology, have been working on a comprehensive approach to curriculum. We've never in the past, although all of us have been teaching in the Bolz Center for a number of years, we've never had a chance to look at our classes together and to align those with program goals and outcomes and to really be mindful in the design of each of those courses and how they fit together in the overall curriculum for the Bolz Center. So we have been hard at work since the beginning of June on creating this suite of courses that we think are going to be a really fantastic opportunity for our incoming students. So I have Seminar 1 and 2, Fall and Spring in my teaching load, and Arts Entrepreneurship 1. For Seminar 1 in the fall, we'll be focusing on building a foundational understanding of nonprofit arts and working in the creative sector, doing a lot of skills-based activities and programs, and then we're looking towards the spring being a semester where we are looking at complex issues within the arts and current trends. Within that, we'll of course continue the speaker series, which has been a hallmark of the Bolz Center seminar classes, but we'll also be working on a lot of practical skills and practical knowledge. For Arts Entrepreneurship 1, I'm retooling that class a bit. We will be, of course, doing the venture proposal, which is the hallmark of that particular course, but we'll also be looking at learning how to use Zoom and video chat, how to podcast, how to build a website, how to write a blog and put together digital marketing materials, and more. So again, very hands-on focused, while also inviting entrepreneurs from the community to come and talk to our classes. So that's those 2 courses. I'm going to hand it off to John, who's going to jump in with his courses. Thanks, John.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. It's a pleasure to be here. I think I've, in scanning the chat bar here, have the privilege of knowing quite a few of you actually who are participating in the call today. I'm sort of a Bolz Center groupie. Many of you may recognize me from the work that I've done on campus around entrepreneurship in particular, but over the last several years helping Sherry and others develop this arts entrepreneurship curriculum for the Bolz Center in particular. And very excited to be working with Sarah more closely on the Arts Entrepreneurship 2 class. That class asks the students to really translate a lot of the skills that they're going to acquire in that first course and to use the mindset that they kind of cultivate and develop there and apply that within an established organization. So for students who are interested in kind of bringing some entrepreneurial dynamism to established orchestras, museums, and other arts and culture organizations, they get a chance to develop their ideation skills, to develop new products and services for area organizations, and to think a little more carefully about what the true capacity might be for those organizations to develop and deliver those new experiences to audiences. So it's kind of exciting to have a little more tightly coupled coursework here in that sequence. And looking forward to the spring for that, but also thinking very carefully about the fall. We have Impact Consulting, which is one of the courses that I'm working on developing right now with Angela Richardson. This is a one-year sequence, maybe a relatively newer offering, but very excited because it's an introduction for our students to the consulting profession, gives them an opportunity to understand some of the tools that consultants might use in their work in strategy development, industry analysis, thinking about new audiences and how to reach them, but placemaking as well, which has been a hallmark of a lot of the Bolz Center programming, especially under Sherry's leadership. So we'll kind of develop those skills and capabilities for the students there, but it wouldn't really be Wisconsin without the ability to reduce those tools and frameworks into practice. And we're excited to be working with some live projects, if you will, and to tell you a little more about what some of the students will be engaging with in the Impact Consulting class. I'd invite my colleague Angela Richardson to tell you a little more.
Thanks, John. And hi, everybody. It is great to see who all is in attendance. It's great to know that we have so much support going into this next year, and also fun to see that we have some of the incoming cohort here as well. So yes, to tell you a little bit about what we're doing as far as the actual projects for the consulting class, we're collaborating with a unit on campus called University Alliance, which is headed by Gavin Luter. And that unit does projects with municipalities and cities and counties all over the state of Wisconsin. It's usually a 3-year gig, and the first year they use to sort of develop ideas and set priorities. And the second year, which in the case of the city that we're working with, Wisconsin Rapids, this is the second year, we start to look more into implementation and getting ready for the third year. So we'll be working with, like I said, Wisconsin Rapids to help them develop a cultural initiative. We're also going to look at working on developing an arts collaborative and organizing sort of an advisory group for the city. They really discovered that they're in need of that. And also, excitingly, we're going to do some policy making with them and see if we can do first a public arts inventory, looking across the city to see what sort of public art works they already have, what they might be missing, and think about how the city might develop a policy for going forward. So really looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun and super to have an opportunity to do something in the real world with real impact throughout the state. I'll also share that all of our students will have the opportunity to earn a leadership certificate. We've been working with colleagues at the Center for Leadership and Involvement. In particular, Larry Halone has helped us look at all of our courses and activities and figure out how to best integrate everything that we're already doing to make it as easy as humanly possible for students to earn this leadership certificate just by going through the program. So we're excited that that's happening and so glad to be working with the colleagues at CFLY. Also, I'll just mention, as Sarah already did, we have a couple of colleagues from the School of Human Ecology, Mary Beth Collins and Amy Hilgendorf, who are returning to teach the nonprofit board leadership class, in which students will learn a lot about how to operate on a board, and then they'll also have the opportunity to serve in a non-voting capacity with nonprofits throughout the city. So we're looking forward to a really great semester, a great entire academic year with our incoming cohort, who we're really excited about. So let's see. Now back to Russ.
Thank you so much. So I want to say just a few words about operational leadership in the coming year. It might sound unusual to have 3 co-directors, but let me tell you how I think about it. In order for us to be effective, there are several buckets of skills that we need. We have sort of operations and student services that we need. Our students require, as many of you should know very well, a certain amount of TLC, and we want to take care of them incredibly well. We also need a presence in the arts community, both locally and nationally, and we need a presence on campus, and we need the ability to get applied learning experiences for our students. So these connections are necessary both to get the experiences for our students as well as recruiting new students. So these connections fall into different buckets, and they don't always, there aren't that many Sherrys, and they don't always fall into one person. So we're fortunate to have just an amazing crew of people that are going to help lead us in the coming year. So you've already probably gotten a flavor for the roles that they're going to play in the year to come. Becky has been the assistant director since 2005. So honestly, we all take direction from her because she knows exactly what needs to happen and what's going to happen, and she is a linchpin to make everything happen when it should. Sarah, as you heard her talk a bit more about the curriculum of the seminar and other courses. Her expertise is both in terms of the curriculum that we need to provide to our students, but also connections to the arts community, which is another bucket of skills that I mentioned that we absolutely need. And John is sort of our third leg of that stool, if you will, who has expertise across, great connections across campus, as well as expertise, particularly in the entrepreneurship end that we want to train our students in. So together, they're like a dream team, and we're really excited to have them in the leadership. And let me also mention Angela, who you've already heard from, who is also facilitating our connections across campus. She is very much part of the team, as in like every week we talk to her. So so she's not like just an adjunct part of the team. She is very much on the team. It's just that I thought that somebody's head might explode if I said we had 4 co-directors. But she's here with us all the time. So I want to thank you all on the team, because I feel like we're in excellent hands for the coming year. In just great shape, and your attention to detail is much appreciated. So with that, John's going to say a few words about philanthropy and where we are with that. Take it away, John.
Yeah, thank you, Russ. I think many of you may have a sense, of course, that the Bolz Center for many years, as one of the oldest arts administration centers in the nation, has really benefited from a tremendous tradition of philanthropy, in no small measure, probably owing to many of the gifts that you have all made as well, which are much appreciated. The Bolz Center is in a very strong position. It has around 7 accounts that actually help to support the machinery that we've been talking about here today. But it's important to recognize that a lot of those funds are really set aside for the operations of the center, but especially the student experience, placements and internship opportunities, as well as the research materials or literature that we might require for our instruction of the students. The center, for all of the endowed funds that it has, has been operating very efficiently and very effectively for a long time. But it's important to recognize that, that we have the funding to support what we have historically done, which is, of course, invest in the teaching mission and then carefully balance that against the student experiences and a lot of field experiences among those. But, Sherry was always looking to the future, and she and Becky have, really managed to secure the next sort of phase for the Bolz Center's evolution here. And I'd invite Becky to share a little more about a recent gift that we've received.
So hello, everybody. Very selfishly, I just have to say it was so exciting to see all of your names popping in. I feel like you're all my family, and I just feel very supported. We all feel very supported by you. So thank you so much for joining us today. So I have the great privilege of sharing with all of you that for some of you who didn't know, Jack and Miriam Bolz and their family very generously donated their Palm Springs home to the UW Foundation, and the proceeds to go to the Bolz Center. The house went on the market at the beginning of June, and as of last week, the property is sold. So we're very, very excited to share that with all of you. The sale is upwards of about $1 million. And the proceeds are on their way to the UW Foundation. So we will be soon starting to utilize that funding. And in particular, Sherry really was looking to use that funding towards the new MA program that launched in December. And with that, I'm happy to share our admissions report with you. Admissions aren't quite wrapped up yet. We're at the tail end. We still have a couple of outstanding offers and interviews to do. But as of this week, we have 16 students coming into the cohort, 1 MBA and 15 MAs. This will be the largest grouping of students that have come into the Bolz Center in a fall semester. So we're super excited about that. And in terms of the class, we're also really happy to share with you that we have great diversity. About a third of of the class are students of color. So they'll be coming in with different learned experiences, different lived experiences, and different perspectives. So we're really happy to be able to share that with all of you. And in terms of who our students are, we have on the MBA side, the one MBA that's coming in recently relocated back to Wisconsin after living in New Orleans for a little bit of time. She was working for the New Orleans Museum of Art in events in development and is excited to join our program. And I think she might be on the call today. And on the MA side, we have 5 of our students are actually graduates of the UW from this past May 2020, and they'll be continuing their education at the UW this coming year. They have degrees ranging from mass communication and journalism, business, music, dance, just great diversity and perspective. And then the other 10 students are actually local professionals. They'll be working with their organizations this coming year and sort of using what they're learning in the classroom and being able to take it back to their work. So these students, again, they're working in different organizations. Some are working for the UW, several are working for the Overture Center for the Arts. We have a student working for the Madison Museum of Contemporary Art, Children's Theater of Madison, and also some other local nonprofits. And again, working in a variety of capacities: marketing, education, programming, human resources. So we're really excited about the people that are going to be joining this program, and really excited that we get to carry Sherry's vision forward, because this is exactly the type of student body that she was looking to work with this coming year. And I think, Sarah, did you have anything to add to that? I know that you and I were teaming up on that section.
I think you summed it up beautifully, Becky.
Oh, one other point I do want to make. So in terms of the entire Wisconsin MBA and Specialized Master's program, as of Monday, we were at 100 students in the MBA and 97 in the Specialized Master's combined. So we have a large cohort of students that will be coming in this year that we get to work with.
So I think I'm next on the agenda to say a few words about the MBA program going forward. But before I say that, Becky speaks quickly, so I didn't get a word in edgewise, and I guess I want to put a highlighter over the Bolz gift to the center. The Bolz family has given us a strong vote of confidence going forward, which we didn't know at the time that this was going to be a time of transition, but the vote of confidence becomes especially important at this time, and we're hugely appreciative of that. And it's perfect as we launch the MA program. In terms of the MBA, many of you are graduates of the MBA program. I don't have a significant thing to announce with respect to that. We have one student coming in to the MBA program, which is one more than we had last year. So that's probably a positive thing, but many of you are wondering, gee, why don't we have more students? The MBA program has been a challenge for us because the MBA rankings impose a set of criteria on that program that they must rely heavily on quantitative test scores. The program is quantitatively oriented. Salaries when they graduate affect our rankings. And all of that means that there is a narrower group of people that can get access to what we have to offer through the MBA program. And Sherry saw that and was extremely enthusiastic about the MA program as a way to become more inclusive, to spread the love, to identify people that really could benefit from the programs that we were able to offer. And even, I guess what I would say is that since our new dean has come on board, he has increased our focus in a quantitative way. So we have a new master's in business analytics, for example, and our MBA program has become not less quantitative, but much more quantitative. And these are trends across the business schools. From that standpoint, it's not necessarily unusual, but it doesn't help us have more arts-oriented MBA students. That it just makes that challenge even more difficult. So the MA program is a huge step forward that allows us to serve these students. We're very excited about it. And some of you may wonder about, well, what about arts students who have strong quantitative skills? Well, we see one path through the MA program is going to come through our BBA students who want to stay for another year. And we have a path for them. They will get their path through the MA program will be more arts oriented because they will already have the business skills training. And so from that standpoint, those students, a subset of our MA students, will probably look a good bit like the MBA students in terms of the skill set that they bring to the game. So that's where we are. I know that's maybe not what everyone wanted to hear, but best that I can be straight with you in terms of our vision going forward. So I think we're at the Q&A portion. So this is I know that some people have put questions into the Q&A box, and we can answer those.
Some really great questions in here. So I'll ask a couple of these, and if you guys would like to chime in on a couple of them, that would be great. So the first one, some questions about the COVID financial hits for all organizations. Have we seen any project assistantships in jeopardy? And then related, are you hearing about PA ship positions, how they might change in this brave new world? So if you guys could, any thoughts that you guys would like to share about that one?
Sure, I can take that one.
Okay.
So we've been reaching out to the partners who had already spoken to Sherry in the spring and making sure that those are still possibilities. We also have a number of new partners at the table. What's been really interesting this spring, as someone, I work in the arts community, for folks who I haven't necessarily met before. I'm a theater producer. I run Four Seasons Theater and have been part of the theater community for about 20 years. So I have had many conversations with a number of colleagues in the Madison area and nationally as well about what does it mean, how do we fulfill our mission during this time when, you know, the arts world is about being together, and it's often about being together in the same space. So what does it look like in a time where you need to be socially distant, and we can't all be under the footlights enjoying the overture to a fantastic show? And what's been really heartening is, as many of the organizations that we've worked with, either in the board leadership class or with student applied placements in the past, are pivoting and rethinking how they fulfill that mission, how they connect and engage with their audiences and their communities. And we have some fantastic positions opened up. One is with Forward Theater Company, which is the equity company in town. They've gone all in on digital storytelling with a weekly podcast, with live streams, with virtual performances and readings. And just yesterday, we were able to secure a fantastic placement for one of our students as part of that digital storytelling team. So they'll be right there in the thick of it. We have other placements with students working at the Overture Center, potentially in strategic planning, which is, talk about a good time to be in that particular field, right? And with our organizations across Madison. So I think I'm really proud of what's happening in the arts community, and I'm really looking forward to what our students are able to do with their placements this year.
Great. Thanks, Sarah. Have we had any students back away from starting in the fall given the pandemic?
So I can answer that because I've been running the admissions since spring. So we did have a couple of people that were concerned about having to be on campus, and another person who financially this just wasn't going to be a good year to start the program. So fortunately, the bulk of the students who did apply to the program and received admit offers are coming. And as typically in MBA admissions, they do see a summer melt, so they are experiencing some of that. So it is expected, and COVID just puts a sort of a different spin on it.
All right, thanks, Becky. So here's another one, a little bit. It's the question about the search. How you're approaching the search for the new director? Will this be an academic or scholar, administrative director, some combination? What's the next job description look like? And somewhat related to that, there was a question about, is there going to be an executive search firm engaged, or what does that look like?
So I am the faculty director. I do while my research is not heavily in the arts area, I do some research on creativity, and human capital work is also somewhat related to this. So hopefully I provide some guidance along those lines. In terms of the skill set for the staff director, that I don't expect that that's going to change, and it's going to stay consistent with all of our other centers. So we have quite a number of other centers that are kind of structured this way, and it would be kind of a big deal to have like a full-time research faculty member who is also running the day-to-day of a center. And those of you who have worked closely with faculty probably have a pretty good idea that some of us are maybe not ideal to run day-to-day things. It's the skill set for research and the skill set for running things day-to-day is not doesn't always overlap, put it that way. So I expect that our criteria are going to stay pretty similar. We were extremely lucky to have Sherry for the years that we had her, and so from that standpoint, I view that as just a huge success, and would want to keep it similar if we can.
All right, thanks, Russ. So there's a question here about kind of the way that things have been going now virtually, that could open up the doors for some organizations outside of Madison to take advantage of the PA program. Looks like maybe John, is that something you'd like to address, if that's a possibility?
Yeah, it's a possibility. I actually meant to type my reply, but I'm glad to go live also. But you're absolutely right. I think the technology allows us to do a lot more than we've maybe done traditionally, not only in terms of placements that we might be able to execute or support at distance, but I think our students are likely to have more opportunities to participate in more programs nationally, not just traditional mainstays like APAP, but also A2RU and some other events. And for all of us who are teaching this fall and spring, we're also excited that the technology allows us to essentially bring in higher profile speakers from a greater diversity of audience, agencies and organizations, maybe right into the classroom. So the ability to tap our alumni and other arts leaders, around the world is kind of exciting for some of us, quite frankly. But I would say on the balance, we're pretty, enthused about what this difficult situation has actually created as an unexpected opportunity or benefit.
Thanks. There's kind of a follow-up here, and John, I apologize if you answered this already. I was kind of reading some of the questions here, but there was a question about will all the PA partnerships placements with arts organizations be virtual this fall, or what kind of will that look like for the students? Sorry if you answered that already, but that was a follow-up question.
I can take that one.
Yeah, I was going to say, so you're a little closer to the mechanics for some of those placements, if you'd like to maybe talk a little bit about that.
So Becky and I are still working on finalizing the last few placements, and we have the remaining interview and potential admittance as well. So we're not completely done with that. At this time, they're starting virtually, but we'll of course be talking to our partners about what makes the most sense for the safety and health of everybody involved. So we'll keep everybody posted as we move into the fall semester.
And I guess I want to add to that. I guess my job is to go over things with a highlighter, if you will. When we started recruiting here for this year, we didn't necessarily expect that we were going to have as many students in the MA program. And we probably have more than twice what we actually thought we were going to have initially. And the notion, you're right to be worried about, well, are we going to be able to find applied learning opportunities for these people? And actually we have, and I want to say that's personally I was worried about that, and organizations want to work with us, and I think that's awesome, and it's a huge plus.
All right, thank you guys for answering that. There's a couple of questions here about the MA program. They're somewhat related here, but so the new MA, while very exciting and provides a different niche, how does that program support the needs for cultural organization leaders in the future? And somewhat related to the MA, there's some questions about if there's consideration of going back to an MA in arts administration as it used to be with some of the challenges with the MBA program. So just got kind of two questions about the MA.
So I'll take the MBA question because I was talking about it before. So I don't mean to say that the MBA is causing problems, and I'm sorry if it came across that way. It's just that the MBA comes with a set of constraints that means that only a smaller portion of people can benefit from that experience. What I would say, though, is that as we have MA students who are coming out of the BBA program, as I said, they are going to be really strong quantitatively and with a strong business skill set. So the MBA program is a 2-year program that gives you access to a set of business skills. Our BBAs will have 4 years of this kind of training, and then they'll go through the MA program. And so I actually, in some respects, they will actually have stronger skills conceivably, and we're going to then be focusing on giving them applied experiences that allow them to hit the ground running when they finish our program. So that's my answer for how we would be dealing with that. Anyone want to pick up the cultural niche? Because the sense I have is that the MA program meets that need. That's certainly our intent, and it might be that I'm not understanding the question perfectly.
Yeah, I think the question was more about how this MA program really supports the needs for cultural organizations right now, the leadership in those cultural organizations. So I think that was kind of the question.
Yeah, well, I think I understand it generally, and having, worked on developing the proposal, this is something we kind of explored very carefully as a group, for the last couple of years. But I guess I would say to that it's important to recognize that the MA program really emphasizes the acquisition and use of skills. And so if you look at the curriculum for the MA degree, you'll find students are in situations where they're embedded as consultants or advisors. They're seeing everything from the development of new products and services in an organization to advising an organization through the machinery of the board. And so they're really kind of acquiring a sort of savvy that goes along with the skills by being immersed in those settings. And at the same time, a lot of the positions that we looked at when kind of doing a review to establish the market need for these graduates really emphasized that kind of training and MA degrees. MBA degrees were very rarely sought by cultural agencies or larger established organizations. So I'm sure they'd be welcome, but I think there are a lot of ways that this degree and its design will help to meet the needs that we've seen and heard from from our alums and from what we've seen in the market studies.
All right. Thank you, John. So there's let's go to how are you going to address diversity and inclusion in the teaching of arts administration and audience development this fall?
I'm waiting for my curriculum people to dive in.
I didn't want to step in, buddy, because I've already answered a bunch of questions, but I'll jump in, and Angela and John, please do join. Part of this idea of the comprehensive review of the courses is looking at how we could, as instructors, think about inclusion, diversity, equity, and access or accessibility as something that is integrated throughout the entire semester. It's not just that one workshop, that 1 weekend seminar. It's something that infuses everything that we do. Every time we think about talking about engaging the community and developing programming that's responsive to the needs and desires of the place that you live and work. When we talk about looking at the speaker series and who's going to be coming in throughout the semester and throughout the year and across our various courses. When we look at the case studies that we'll be including in seminar, entrepreneurship, and in consulting. So we've really been trying as a staff to make sure that is one of the leading lenses in the development of the courses and the opportunities that we are bringing for the students and the speakers that we're bringing in, working with the leadership certificate. We're also working with the diversity office in the School of Business and have connected with the chief diversity officer on campus as well. So our biggest piece of that is that it's integrated throughout the curriculum and it's not just something that happens one day. right? We think it's incredibly important. Along those lines, our first speaker and seminar is going to be David Stewart, who's a director of production for Disney, and he's also the chair of the USITT Committee for Equity and Diversity and Inclusion. And he'll be the first person in seminar. We'll be inviting everybody who's here today to join us for that talk, to hear what David has to say about what leadership looks like in 2020 and beyond. And he's one of many speakers we're very excited to be welcoming for part of the program. So thanks.
All right, thank you, Sarah. There's a question here just about the new dean, so Dean Samba and his support of the Bolz Center. Just wondering about, how he feels about the Bolz Center, support that he has, enthusiasm, resource allocation, all of those kinds of things, about kind of his thoughts about the Bolz Center.
So that sounds like a Russ question. So first of all, I used to be in the dean's office, so I can appreciate all the pressures that Dean Samba is facing. Let me tell you, he called me last week and was tremendously excited about the Bolz gift. I feel like we're off on a good foot in terms of the support that I'm getting from the dean.
Great, thank you. So here's a question about kind of how we feed the progression into the MA program. It sounds like the BBA is serving as a feeder to the MA program. Is that the case? And if so, how are folks interested in arts leadership finding themselves as undergrads in business at Wisconsin?
I think I can say something a little bit about that, because I have the good fortune as serving as advisor to the annual event, Art of the Wisconsin BBA. So there's some students who sort of self-identify, or who curiously wander in the Bolz Center asking what we're all about. Oh, I see arts administration on the wall. What's happening in here? And every year we create an exhibition event which features art by students of the BBA, and that is also a great opportunity for me to work with students to talk about communication, marketing, organizational skills, and also now will be a great chance to see who might be interested in taking part in the MA program. I also get to be involved in various classes that BBA students are taking, sometimes working to integrate an activity or two into an existing curriculum for a BBA level class, or in some cases a longer unit. So that's another touch point we have with the BBA students.
Great, thank you, Angela, appreciate it. So here's a question about curriculum for the MA. Some of the formative classes I really appreciated and have used as a lot in my career from MBA were negotiations, branding, marketing, and Excel skills. Will MA students have access to these types of classes at the graduate level?
Short answer, yes.
I can add in, they have a number of elective spots in addition to the courses that we're teaching as the Bolz Center instructional team. So yes.
I just want to be known as the faculty member who gave the short answer.
Very nice. So a couple of questions about the MBA program here. So first of all, what energies are being put behind the continued recruitment and marketing for the Bolz MBA program?
So the marketing for so Becky may have a more detailed answer, but the marketing for the MBA program has always been handled by the program office, and the Bolz Center is getting the same marketing that every single specialization is getting, so that hasn't changed.
Okay, there's a some questions just about tuition. So first is around the MBA. Is it still tuition free? That remains a unique selling point. And second, is the MA fully funded, or do students pay tuition?
So I can answer that. So the way that we work with the merit support for the MBA now is that MBA students receive a $10,000 scholarship for both their first and second year in the program. The PA has sort of dissolved across the specializations because they're very costly. And the $10,000 comes in from the host organization. So we give that to the students in the form of a scholarship. On the MA side, Sherry really wanted to utilize the Bolz family gift to be able to grow the MA program. So the way that she sort of envisioned it, all the MA students receive a $5,000 scholarship. And any student that isn't currently working has the opportunity to do an applied learning placement like the MBAs do. And so if they do that, if they participate in that placement, they receive the $10,000 from the host organization. And with the Bolz family gift, Sherry really wanted the MA program to be accessible. And she knew that if students were going to be staying for an extra year, they could possibly utilize that money for an unpaid internship or housing or things like that. She really wanted to have an inclusive, accessible program for students and to be able to bring more students through the Bolz Center.
Okay, thank you, Becky. There's a question here about, especially with a relatively new dean, are there anything that that alumni can do to help his interest with the Bolz Center?
So Sherry had a terrific program that probably some of you participated in, where when Dean Samba came on board, he was meeting with alumni in various cities across the country, and Sherry organized Bolzies to attend all of these to make the center more salient to the dean. And I think that was huge. It was impactful. It was a great little program that she did. As we have opportunities to do things like that, having the alumni heard and attending those things, I think is great. It's impactful.
All right, thank you, Russ. So here's a question. Will the small MBA cohort and the new MA program that'll attract mostly UW students, is there a concern about the Bolz Center having less reputation from around the country? Or do we feel like we are going to be able to bring in students from across the country?
So I'll start this and then pass it off to John. This is the pilot year, and when John and Sherry were working on the initial planning and getting everything through the UW bureaucracy to get the program approved, along with Russ's help, we started initially by recruiting locally recruiting locally, making sure we're opening up the opportunity to folks who were already in Madison. We're not asking somebody to move here for a brand new program. So the idea was start local. We thought we might have 4 or 5 students the first year, and now we have almost 20. And hopefully with the successes of this year, with the testimonials and stories from those that go through the program, with the successes of the placements in the community and with other arts organizations, we'll then be able to leverage that to recruiting on a much broader basis going ahead and moving forward.
Yeah, I would only add that, Sherry was impatient, as you can imagine, and we carefully crafted an outreach strategy, where we had to be very careful about our language, about a proposed degree program, to do some of that initial work. So the first year or two, as Sarah mentioned in the program, might disproportionately emphasize students that were able to reach a little more easily, but we did not expect that to be a limitation in the steady state for the program. It should draw nationally, and we do have students in the program coming from different regions of the country even now. So I think it's working on that front as well, and it's really exceeded our expectations. There's so much demand, and it's an amazing cohort.
Great, thank you, you two. So those are all the questions that we've had through the Q&A. I apologize if you asked a question in the webinar chat and we didn't get to it. If you wouldn't mind, just if you do still have a question, you can either please pop it in the chat or in the question and answer. We just want to make sure we have about just under 10 minutes left. If you guys have any other questions, we're here to answer them at the best of our ability, and just to see if you have any other questions. right. Well, unless there are any other questions, maybe we'll wrap things up here today a little early, some found time for everybody. But just wanted to say thank you again for everybody for coming and joining us today. It was so great to see so many of you. It looks like we had maybe around 85 or so people on the web stream here. So it was really great to know that we were able to reach you know, a large part of as I think as Jim put it, the alumni herd. So it was good to see you all. Wish we would have seen you on the terrace. But it's great to see you all, and thank you for the really great questions as always. And stay tuned. We'll have more information coming to you in the near future. So, all right, with that, I think we'll wrap things up. Anything else any of our panelists would like to share?
Thank you all for all of the encouragement and the great questions and ideas and support for the team. Really appreciate it.
And just thank you all for everything over the past several months. We have been inundated with comments and just praises and gratitude and support, and it's just been really, really fantastic. You guys are amazing.
All right.
Stay involved, stay in touch.
Great. Thank you, Russ. With that, we will wrap things up. We'll call that a wrap. And thank you, everybody. We'll see you all sometime soon.